She stood there, still, her gaze cold, unshaken. Around her, absolute silence. Neither Ashley nor her friends, nor even the crowd recording with their phones could comprehend what they were witnessing. Everyone thought she would break, another victim, another public humiliation. But no one had any idea what Maya Johnson was truly capable of. Now, with her opponents on the ground, humiliated in front of the entire school, one question echoed in everyone's mind. Who is this girl? And how did no one see this coming? But to understand how it all led to this moment, you have to go back with me to the beginning of the story. Before we dive in, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. How far would you go before finally standing up for yourself? Now get ready, because what happened in that school, no one would ever forget. It all began just days earlier. The yellow bus pulled up in front of Brooklyn High. Dozens of students poured out, their laughter echoing through the morning air. But one girl stepped off last. Maya Johnson. Her backpack straps clenched tightly in her hands, her shoulders slightly tense, as if bracing herself for what awaited. This wasn't her first transfer, and it wouldn't be the first time she'd walked into a place where every glance carried silent judgment. As Maya stood outside the towering red brick building, she inhaled deeply. A new school, a new beginning. Or at least she hoped, but deep down Maya already knew. No matter where she went, her skin color, her quiet presence, they always seemed to draw attention, the kind of attention she never asked for. Inside, the halls buzzed with noise. Lockers slammed open and shut, groups gathered in tight circles, whispers floated from every direction. She kept her head down, avoiding eye contact, pretending she was invisible, because Maya had learned long ago, if you don't make noise, they won't come for you. But this time, it didn't work. Just as she was memorizing the combination on her locker, she heard the shift, the kind of silence that announces someone important entering the room. And then she heard them, the deliberate footsteps approaching behind her. Without turning, she felt it, the presence, the stare. Ashley Mitchell, Brooklyn High's Queen Bee, tall, flawless, porcelain-skinned, and dangerously confident, surrounded, as always, by her loyal shadows, Brianna and Courtney, and close behind them, her brother, Zach Mitchell, the school's star athlete, and his unpredictable friend Luke. Together they ruled these halls. Their presence alone bent the air. Everyone watched them, everyone feared them. But Ashley, her icy gaze was locked directly on Maya. She examined her like prey. A new face, a new target. Maya barely glanced up, but understood instantly what that look meant. Know your place. She lowered her gaze, quietly shutting her locker. But even as she walked toward her first class, Maya could feel it. The game had already begun. She just didn't know yet how far Ashley was willing to take it. From the very first class, Maya tried to disappear into the background. She chose a seat in the far corner, away from curious eyes, away from attention. But Ashley Mitchell wasn't about to let her fade into the shadows. For Ashley, Maya was more than just the new girl. She was an opportunity. Every year, Ashley needed someone to remind the school who held the power, a new face, a symbol, and Maya, with her quiet presence and calm demeanor, was the perfect choice. It started small, barely noticeable whispers that floated just loud enough for Maya to hear. Did you see what she's wearing? Chicago girls must not know fashion. I bet she can't even keep up with the classes. Maya sat still, her pencil in hand, her gaze focused straight ahead, but her fingers gripped tighter with every cruel word. She had heard it all before. The subtle mockery, the judgment not for what she did, but simply for who she was. Ashley watched, her closely waiting, studying. Every time Maya didn't react, Ashley's confidence grew. To her, Maya's silence wasn't strength, it was weakness. submission, and that only fueled Ashley's need to push further. She whispered to Brianna and Courtney, who burst into exaggerated giggles, their laughter pierced the classroom like little knives, loud enough for everyone to hear, yet soft enough to appear harmless. Still, Maya didn't flinch. Her face remained composed, her breathing steady. But beneath that calm exterior, a storm was quietly brewing. Ashley couldn't stand it, because for her, indifference was more threatening than resistance. Maya wasn't playing by the usual rules. She wasn't crying. She wasn't breaking. And in Ashley's world, anyone who didn't submit had to be crushed. Completely. The bell rang, ending the first class. Maya gathered her books and quickly walked out of the classroom, trying to escape the growing tension. But even as she moved down the hallway, she could feel the eyes on her, the whispers multiplying. She knew this was only the beginning, and Ashley Mitchell, she was just getting started. The days that followed felt like walking on thin ice. Maya tried to stay invisible. She walked the halls quietly, kept her head down, sat in the back of the classrooms, and avoided eye contact with anyone. But her silence seemed to enrage Ashley. Even more, because Maya wasn't breaking, and that was unacceptable. Ashley's subtle taunts quickly escalated. It wasn't just words anymore. Now it was deliberate bumps in the hallways, a foot suddenly extending as Maya walked by. Her books knocked from her hands, always followed by Brianna and Courtney's mocking laughter. Yet, every single time, Maya would calmly pick up her books, straighten her back, and walk away. Never a word, never a tear. The more Maya remained silent, the more Ashley felt her control slipping. Because this was supposed to be easy, Maya was supposed to crack. Instead, she stood like a wall Ashley couldn't tear down, and that wall, that quiet resistance, was starting to draw attention. Students who once watched from the sidelines now whispered differently. "She doesn't even flinch, thought she would have broken by now? She's not like the others, is she?" Even Brianna and Courtney began exchanging nervous glances, sensing the shift. Ashley saw it too, and it terrified her. Her power at Brooklyn High wasn't built on real respect. It was built on fear, on submission. And for the first time, someone wasn't submitting. Ashley's frustration boiled. Her mind raced at night, searching for ways to regain control. She couldn't let Maya become a symbol, a silent reminder that Ashley Mitchell could be defied. No, she needed something. Bigger, something public, and that's when the plan took shape. Ashley wouldn't wait for Maya to break. She would orchestrate the perfect moment in front of everyone, because if Maya wouldn't fall in private, she would be crushed in public. The trap was being set, and Maya had no idea that her most dangerous test was about to begin. The cafeteria, always loud, always crowded, the perfect stage. Ashley knew this was where reputations were made and destroyed. The next day, as students filled the lunchroom, Maya walked in, as always, quiet, reserved, trying to disappear into the noise. But the noise seemed to quiet as she passed. The whispers weren't like before. There was curiosity now, respect even. That only fueled Ashley's fury. She watched Maya take her usual seat, alone in the far corner, calm, untouched, still refusing to react. Not today, Ashley thought. With a casual flick of her wrist, Ashley nodded to Brianna and Courtney. They moved first, carrying full trays, pretending to walk by Maya's table. Ashley followed, her steps deliberate, rehearsed. As she passed behind Maya, she stumbled. Her entire tray of food tipped forward, crashing onto Maya's table, soaking her food, staining her clothes. Gasps filled the cafeteria. Dozens of phones were raised instantly, recording. Ashley wanted everyone to see this. She stood over Maya, faking surprise, her voice dripping with mock innocence. "Oh my God, I'm so clumsy." Brianna and Courtney laughed loudly, as did a few students nearby, unsure whether to laugh or stay silent. Everyone watched, waiting for the explosion. This was it. The moment Maya would finally snap, but she didn't. Maya didn't scream. She didn't cry. She didn't even flinch. Instead, she calmly set down her fork, stood up, and picked up the ruined tray. Without a word, she walked slowly to the trash can, dumped the mess inside, wiped her hands, and returned to collect her backpack. The entire cafeteria froze. The laughter stopped. Ashley's smirk faded slightly as she watched Maya calmly turn to leave. Head held high, back straight, her eyes never once meeting Ashley's. That cold, composed silence was louder than any retaliation, and in that moment, something terrifying crept into Ashley's chest. Doubt. For the first time, Ashley felt it. Fear. Because this girl wasn't afraid of her, and deep down Ashley realized she might have just awakened something far more dangerous than she ever intended. Ashley tried to shake it off. It was nothing, she told herself, just a fluke. She's pretending to be tough, but that seed of doubt had already been planted. By the next day, Ashley's frustration turned into obsession. Her power at Brooklyn High wasn't built on strength. It was built on fear, and now, for the first time, someone wasn't playing by her rules. Maya's silence wasn't weakness. It was something else, something Ashley couldn't read. And that scared her. So Ashley escalated. The whispers grew crueler, the pranks more calculated, scribbled notes slipped into Maya's locker. Nasty rumors spreading like wildfire, students watching closely, not because they supported Ashley, but because they were waiting to see which one would finally break. Maya heard every cruel word, felt every stare, but she remained the same, composed, silent, unmoved. But inside, the weight was growing. After school one afternoon, Maya sat, alone in her room. The soft hum of the ceiling fan was the only sound. Her fingers traced the scar on her left hand. A painful reminder from Chicago. 2 years ago, she hadn't been able to stay calm. She had let her anger take control. That fight changed everything. Now she couldn't afford to lose control again. As if sensing her unease, her father entered the room. Marcus Johnson, a man who knew all about battles, both inside the ring and out. "You're struggling," he said softly, sitting beside her. Maya didn't need to explain. He already knew. "They're pushing, aren't they?" he continued. She nodded slowly, her voice barely a whisper. "I don't want to lose control, Dad. Not again." Marcus placed a strong, steady hand on her shoulder. "Maya, listen carefully. Self-control isn't about never fighting. It's knowing when to fight. When silence no longer protects you, you have a right to stand." Maya's chest tightened. She wanted to believe him. "You didn't start this, Maya, but you may have to finish it." His voice was calm, but the meaning behind his words was sharp, and with that Maya knew her silence was running out of time. The next morning, Brooklyn High buzzed like never before. But this time, it wasn't because of Ashley. It was because of the note. Maya approached her locker and found it taped there. No signature, just 6 words, written in bold black ink. "After school, behind the gym. Come." No threats, no details, but everyone knew exactly who it was from. As students walked by, they slowed down, stealing glances, some with pity, some with excitement, most with morbid curiosity. Word traveled fast. Ashley had set the stage, and now the whole school was watching. Maya read the note, then slowly peeled it from her locker. She folded it once, neatly, and tucked it into her pocket. Her face remained unreadable, but inside, she knew what this was. Ashley wasn't satisfied with rumors or whispers anymore. She wanted a public spectacle, a final performance where Maya would either break or surrender. Across the hallway, Ashley appeared. Her entourage, Brianna, Courtney, Zach, and Luke, trailed behind her like shadows. The crowd parted instinctively. The Queen was passing. Ashley walked with exaggerated confidence, locking eyes with Maya from across the hall. The moment their gazes met, the room seemed to hold its breath. Ashley, broke the silence first. "I see you got my invitation." Her voice loud enough for everyone to hear, Maya didn't flinch. Her reply came cool, steady, like cold steel. "I'll be there." The hallway fell utterly silent. Even Ashley, for a brief moment, hesitated. She hadn't expected such calm. No hesitation, no fear, just quiet certainty. Brianna and Courtney exchanged nervous glances. Even Zach narrowed his eyes, studying Maya more closely. Ashley forced a grin to hide the small tremor inside her chest. "Good," she said, voice sharp. "Don't make me waste my time." She spun on her heel and walked off, but the confidence in her steps wasn't as smooth as before. Behind her, Maya stood alone, and though dozens of eyes were on her, she felt strangely calm. Her father's words echoed in her mind. "You didn't start this fight, but you may have to finish it." And deep down, Maya knew today everything would change. The school day passed like a blur. Every class, every hallway, every whispered conversation was about the same thing. After school, behind the gym. By the time the final bell rang, Brooklyn High was electric. Students rushed toward the back of the school, gathering like spectators before a prize fight. The air was thick, not with excitement but with a strange, heavy curiosity. They weren't sure what they were about to witness. But they all knew it wouldn't be ordinary. Maya arrived. Alone, no friends, no backup, just her. Her steps were steady, her face calm, but inside, her heart beat like a war drum. Across the field, Ashley stood waiting, flanked by her usual entourage. Brianna, Courtney, Zach and Luke positioned themselves like loyal soldiers, eyes sharp, confidence brittle. Ashley wore a wicked smile. But even from across the distance, Maya could see it for what it was. A mask, one covering the cracks already forming beneath the surface. As Maya approached, the circle of students closed in tighter. No one spoke. No one dared. The moment had arrived. Ashley stepped forward, voice cutting through the silence. "I honestly didn't think you'd show up. I was sure you'd finally run like the scared little girl you've always been." Her words floated into the crowd, drawing a few nervous chuckles. Maya remained still. She said nothing. Ashley's voice sharpened. "But I guess you're even dumber than I thought." She moved closer, now only a step away. "You could have made this easier on yourself, but now everyone's going to see you break." Ashley turned slightly and nodded to Zach. The message was clear. Zach stepped forward, a towering wall of muscle, captain of the football team, and until this very moment, undefeated in Ashley's twisted games of intimidation. He sneered down at Maya, no words, just the assumption that size alone would be enough. Zach lunged, but before his arm could even reach her shoulder, Maya moved, fluid, precise, controlled, like lightning. She sidestepped, grabbed his wrist and twisted. Zach's balance shifted instantly, and with a smooth pull, he crashed to the ground. The gasp from the crowd rippled like a wave. Zach groaned, his face twisted in confusion and humiliation. He had barely touched her and was already on the ground. Ashley froze. Her confident smirk faltered. But Luke, eager to reclaim what Zach had lost, charged in without hesitation. He came fast. Fist raised, wild, uncontrolled. Maya barely blinked. She shifted her weight, grabbed his arm mid-swing, and locked it behind his back. The scream that followed silenced every remaining breath in the crowd. Luke dropped to his knees, face pale, gasping in pain, and once again Maya released him. Controlled, measured, merciful. The field was dead silent. The Queen's soldiers had fallen. Now only Ashley remained, her mask shattered, her eyes wide, not in rage but in something far worse. Fear. For the first time, Ashley Mitchell realized she had picked the wrong girl. Ashley stood frozen. Her mind spun, desperately searching for an escape. But none existed. Zach was still on the ground. Luke knelt beside him, clutching his arm. Brianna and Courtney. They had silently retreated into the crowd, unwilling to stand beside her any longer. The sea of students stared at her now, but for the first time they weren't looking at Ashley with awe. They were watching her crumble. Maya didn't advance. She didn't need to. Her presence alone was enough to dismantle everything Ashley had built, but Ashley couldn't accept it. Her pride, her identity, was breaking. With a scream of pure frustration, Ashley lunged forward one last time, reckless, desperate. But Maya was ready, in a movement so swift it was almost invisible. She caught Ashley's arm mid-swing. Pivoting her body, she gently but firmly pulled Ashley off balance. Ashley stumbled forward, falling to her knees. Maya stood over her, still holding her arm, firm but controlled. Her voice was barely a whisper, but everyone heard it. "I warned you." The words cut through the silence like a blade, and then, with a calm grace, Maya released Ashley's arm and took a step back. Ashley remained on her knees, breathing heavily, humiliated, but unharmed. The crowd stood in stunned silence. No one laughed. No one whispered. The only sound was Ashley's ragged breath and Maya's calm exhale. Maya slowly turned and walked away, her head held high, her footsteps light. She never looked back, because she didn't need to. Her message was clear, and Brooklyn High would never forget it. True strength wasn't about fear. It wasn't about dominance. It was about control, self-control. And Maya Johnson had just taught the entire school that lesson, without throwing a single punch.